Welcome back. Today we are going to do another episode of Why This and Not That. And the items here were purchased in an antique mall and not a thrift store. But still, I will not pay an exorbitant amount of money no matter where I am buying. So I did the math, and the average price for these items, including sales tax, and Maryland does charge sales tax even for resellers, was a little over $5 either per item or per set of items. That's the average. So I still kept the prices very low, and I'll show you what I got when we come back. Okay. Who's in the mood for a little English by way of Portugal? For those of you who are not familiar with the book, I know most of you are, but some of you are not, English as She Is Spoke. It was published in 1855 by a couple of Portuguese gentlemen who, in fact, did not speak English, and they had quite a good time with the language nonetheless. So, we've been doing a section called Idiotisms, but we've got plenty more on that. Today, I thought we'd switch it up a little, and we will do chastisements, because this is well worth a read. Okay, the typical chastisements you will encounter when you come to America. A fine. Honorable fine, banishment, the dungeon, the iron collar, to decapitate, the impale, to strangle, to whip, to stamp, to mark, imprisonment, the torture rack, to break upon, though tear off the flesh, to draw to 4 horses. I have no idea what century they thought they were living in, but frankly, I don't think most of this took place in America, like, ever. I don't know what they were expecting. So let's slide over to another section, because that was a very short one. And the one I have here is from the housekeeping. I don't know more what I won't with they servants. I tell the same, it is not more some good servants. Any one take care to sweep, neither to make fire at what I may be up. For me, I sweep usually my room myself. It all right. The means to be served well is to serve himself. Is a long one. How the times are changed. Anciently, I had some servants who were divine my thought. The duty was done at the instant. All things were cleanly hold. One may look on the furnitures now, as you do see. It is too different. Whole is covered from dust. The pier glasses, sideboards, the pantries, the chests of drawers, the walls selves are changed of colors. Believe me, send again whole the people. I take upon myself to find you some good servants for to succeed them. Ah, what shall I be obliged to you of it? So, I guess between the you can't find good servants these days and go to America where they will break you on a rack and tear the flesh off you, it's a wonder these people ever left home in the first place. Okay, I liked the way we did this last time. I think it was easier editing for me, and it was probably a lot easier for you rather than chopping in pictures here and there. So why don't we start with a slideshow of the things I purchased? And what I'm going to do is when I put the slideshow together, I'm going to go from the receipt in order so that when I show them to you, again, I'll go from the receipt in order so you'll be able to see this. And if you want to go back, you follow along, third piece will be third piece and so on. So let's take a quick look at that. And here's some lively little music too. Okay, let's take a peek at what we're going to start with. 5-leaf dish, $1. That would be this. This is a set of 5-leaf dishes, hand-painted in Japan. They are all the same. Sometimes when you get sets like these, they're different patterns. Oh, I'm very sorry. They are not all the same. Those two are the same. This one is different. I just noticed. Isn't that interesting? Okay, here's what I have. I have 4 of these and 1 with yellow. How nice is that? A little surprise dish. Now, they were $1 a piece, and so obviously I'm going to take this particular dish out. I thought it would have been a set of 5. It's a set of 4 with 1 oddball. The entire group was $5, but again, since Maryland does not recognize resellers' tax ID numbers, they have some system where you write into Maryland, and it's usually not worth the 6% to do it. I'm sure that's why Maryland does it in the first place, to make it very difficult to recover that money. But taxes were on this, so this raises the price a little higher. Nevertheless, for a set of 5 little hand-painted Japanese leaf dishes like this, I think that was a good price. They're well executed, and they're attractive and interesting pieces. I would say it says Chase Hand Decorated Japan. So I'm going to assume that we're looking at late 60s, possibly even into the early 70s on this. And I'm not sure what these would be used for. Nut dishes, bonbon dishes. Certainly you're not eating your dinner off these dishes. So I'm going to just consider those to be occasional plates. Who knows? I'm thinking, what would I use them for? I would use dishes like this to hold tea bags. Quite frankly, that's something I really don't have in my house, is nice little dishes to stick a tea bag in. I end up sticking them on the saucers of the teacup, and then the bottom of the teacup gets all wet and nasty from the tea bag. And of course, the tea bag flops into the little indentation for the cup, and then I squish it and spill the tea when I put it down. As you can see, my life is not very elegant at all. Speaking of the lack of elegance in my life, someone had commented on Saturday's video. I had sitting right here on the table with me a ginger beer. For those of you who've seen that before, I've turned the label. I don't drink. And if I were going to drink, you can ask Jocelyn, it wouldn't be beer. The smell of it makes me want to just go outside and get sick. But yeah, no, if you see a bottle, it's going to be Coke, it's going to be root beer, it's going to be ginger beer. It's not going to be alcoholic. That's something, oh, believe me, if I sniff a cork, I'm falling on the floor drunk. So it's a waste of time. It really is. And besides, I am definitely crazy enough without a little added booze. So, 5 Japanese dishes for $5. This I could very easily sell. The set of 4, I can put that in my Etsy shop and probably sell that easily for $12 to $15 because I throw in the shipping and it's calculated in there. That's going to be a good deal for someone. It's going to more than make my money back. It's going to cover the shipping. And then, as you know, my Etsy shop covers all kinds of other things, as do the YouTube ads. You know, the giveaways, the shipping for the pens, the Tidbit trays, heaven only knows what else. So that'll be good. That will do well. If I were going to put that set on eBay, sell it at auction, I would expect it to come in somewhere between 12 and 15 before shipping. And that would be my expectation of that at auction, because they are nice pieces. And if they have a wider audience, Etsy, as we know, has fewer buyers. If they had a wider audience, there would be more competition for them. So let's move on to the next piece, which is the watermelon. Okay, this is interesting. This is a set of watermelon salt and pepper shakers. Very nice, made in Japan. And the set was $5. And here's the little mustard pot that goes with it, which was an additional $4. I didn't realize that at first, not until after I put it in my basket. And then I said, gee, do I really want to pay $14 for it? And I decided I did. I'm sorry, not 14, 9. Oh, math insufficiency. I know, you think I am drinking, right? Math insufficiency is creeping into my head. Is it worth $9? Well, that's probably about the top end of what I would pay for it. The reason I would pay for it is salt shakers will sell better if you have the little mustard potty to go with it. And this particular set, the reason I grabbed it is because there are people who not only collect salt and pepper, people who collect watermelon items. That is actually a thing, watermelon item collectors. And so I have 2 groups of collectors. On this at $9, I will probably break even on it. I will probably put this in my Etsy shop somewhere in the range of $15 or so. That will cover my costs and the shipping. And I'll use an item like this to draw people into my shop. Here, look, I've got something cute. Come see. And by the way, never, ever underestimate the value of a loss leader. That's what they're called. If you have items that you know people will be attracted to, people are going to want them, every now and then it pays to put them out there at low prices. The reason they're called loss leaders is sometimes manufacturers will actually take a loss on the products. Now, I'm not going to do that. I don't have to on these pieces. I got a good enough deal so that that's not going to be an issue for me. But it's worth it to draw people into your shop for highly collectible items at a good price, get their interest. People will come, they will look. They may buy, they may not buy, but you keep the price low specifically for the purpose of drawing traffic into your shop so they look at the rest of your items. I would never suggest that you go crazy for something like that and put everything in your shop at a loss. That's dumb. Yeah, that puts you out of business. But if you have a few items that you can do that with, keep the price low. In this case, it'll be my break-even point. Absolutely. Give it a try, because the more people who are going to your listings, whether it's your Etsy shop, your eBay listings, whatever, even if it's just your backyard yard sale, the more people coming through, the more you're going to sell. So, and as I say, that's one I feel I paid on the high side for. I wouldn't go so far as to say I overpaid for it. Oh, but I got mighty darn close. And frankly, I wish they hadn't tried to split the set in the first place. So let's see what's next. China pitcher. I know which one this is. Here. This is not a China pitcher. This is a made in Japan Lusterware creamer. So the description is definitely way off. The design on it doesn't even appear to be Chinese. This appears to be some sort of Central European cottage, with those peaky Tudor roofs. I got this for $4, a lone pitcher, creamer. I'm sorry, they called it a pitcher, a lone creamer. And I was satisfied with this as a purchase. I often pick up creamers. Creamers are things that you can sell independently. You don't necessarily have to have the set, sugar and creamer. I find it easier to sell the creamer alone than the sugar bowl alone, but in this case, it's Lusterware. It's got the classic peach and blue, but this design here is very unusual. It's sort of like a sketch in orange and green. Nice coloration, different. And that's why this one is coming home with me. $4, yeah. This is only very slightly above what I might expect to pay for a piece like this at a thrift store. At Goodwill, a piece like this would be $1 or $2. When we were over shopping at Community Aid, which, as you know, we're not doing any longer because they have hiked their prices, Community Aid, it might well have been $4. I do not consider this a bad bargain. This piece alone will probably easily go for more than 10. That is a good bargain. Bowl. Yes, bowl. That's how it's described. That is this piece. This is a nice bowl made in Japan. And some of our viewers have asked questions about this. This has the foil sticker. And people have said, what is the difference between the marks on Japan pieces? Well, sometimes it's an embossed mark. Sometimes it's an inked on stamp. Here, let's see this. Inked on as if it were just stamped. In this case, a little foil sticker. Usually with the sticker, in this case, because I recognize the name of the company, I'm very comfortable dating this to around mid-1960 to early 1970s. The sticker usually tells you the company name, and in most cases, it was an American company, very often with a Japanese name. And this one is Yukago, and it's that was more of an anagram. I don't recall what it was, but that's it's an anagram. It was a number of initials put together to make the name. This is a nice bowl. Traditionally styled. It's got the gilding. What I love about it is this edge, this beautifully asymmetrical edge. Great. $3. Oh yeah, thrift store prices. So I'm very comfortable with this. There is no damage, and the colors are really compatible with modern decorating. And we've got sort of rusty brown, yellow, blue. That's something that will do nicely. And again, we're looking at a piece that's probably at least 40 to 50 years old. So, nice. Oh, creamer sugar. Creamer sugar. Yes. All right. Creamer sugar was these. This set. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are going to say, oh my goodness, this is poor man's Noritake, and boy, would you be correct. This is made in Japan, hand painted. It's later than the Noritake pieces. It is not Noritake, but it's sort of a general rendering of those Noritake designs. Remember, they had the lake, and they have the little house and the little tree. Nice. This is not the fine quality of Noritake, not the fine quality of the pieces marked Nippon, much, much earlier. This is later. This is second half of the 20th century. Nevertheless, nice Japanese sugar and creamer. And for $5, easily this is going to go for 15 to 20. No problem there. Creamer sugar. Ah, yes. I thought Jocelyn was going to take this. This is definitely more her style than mine. This is just a whimsical little squirrel planter. And this piece was $8. Yes. Squirrel planter. Yes, squirrel planter, $8. Oh, I should have just looked on the bottom. It would have been easier. It's a relatively high price for a whimsical planter like this. At the thrift store, I would expect to pay less than half that, but it's cute. Someone is definitely going to want it. It's never been used. It's clean inside and out. Now it's dusty and I'm going to want to scrub it down, but it's definitely nice. This is just a fun piece. This is going to go to somebody who is either going to be entranced by the squirrel holding the nut, or, you know, just the whole concept of a squirrel planter or animal planters. And as I say, I thought Jocelyn was going to go for it. She didn't, and I was not leaving him behind. A piece like this, I would say $12 to $15. Probably not much more, mostly because, you know, like I said, it's a whimsical piece. It's not a serious piece. but it's a fun piece. And I do think that's something my shop is a little shy on, fun pieces. So I need to take a closer look at pieces like that. So squirrel planter, oh, Lusterware vase. All right. This was my favorite piece from this little haul. Lusterware vase. We're looking at about 7 inches, beautifully executed. I really, really love it. No, I'm not keeping it. I'm going to hate myself for not keeping it, but I'm not. This is going into my shop. This was originally marked at $12. It was 20% off, so it was $9.60. Japan Lusterware, very, very nice piece. This is one of those things that if you like Japanese lusterware, you're going to love this. So I have no concerns about finding a buyer for it. It is beautiful, and it's not the kind of piece I come across often at thrift stores, which was another reason for grabbing it. This is a sweet piece, perfect condition, and if these pieces do hit the thrift store, boy, they're scooped off the shelves long before I find them. Very, very nice piece. If I were to list this on eBay at auction, it wouldn't surprise me if it went for over $30. Would not surprise me in the least. Lusterware collectors would be very happy for this piece because the execution is so good. Very often with lusterware, you will find a little bit of sloppiness here and there, blurs in the paint. Here, got one right here, a little spot on the handle. We don't have anything like this here. It's just really well done. Quality workmanship. And that can be difficult to find because this was not high-end. If you'll recall, when we discussed lusterware, we talked about the fact that it was originally developed to duplicate like a sterling silver tea service. That's how it was done in Europe. They would create silver metallic glaze over porcelain in imitation of silver service. So lusterware was never intended to be super high-end to begin with. A piece like this that has high-end construction, yeah, that will find a buyer. So that's my favorite. Scroll up. Oh, Nippon-footed bowl. Here you are. This is a little Nippon-footed bowl, probably about 100 years old. This bowl would not likely have been used for food service. This bowl would probably have been part of a dresser set. It would have been a bowl you would have put jewelry, perhaps even powder in. Pieces like this, they had dresser sets, vanity sets, all kinds of pieces, trinket containers. Hair receivers were a big thing. The hair receivers are pieces like this that have lids with a hole in it. And you pulled the hair out of your comb or your brush, shoved it in there, stuck the lid on it, and then you turned the hair into things. I swear this is the truth. People would then take the bits of hair and weave them into jewelry. It absolutely happened. I wear an earring all the time. I don't have it on this time. This time I have a steampunk earring. But I very often wear a gold dangle with a pearl on it. That particular earring, before I had the hair removed from it and the pearl inserted, had a little, like, almost like a bag. It was a woven bit of human hair. I had some emotional trouble with that. I loved the gold work on the earring, but I was not about to wear somebody's hair in my ear. I will make a point of showing you that earring next time, but it was braided from the hair, woven like a little, sort of like a sack. And yes, I had it removed. I had a pearl put in. I could not bear the idea of wearing some dead person's hair in my ear. It was very, very common in Victorian times, but that in fact is why they saved their hair, because they did stuff with it. And so this is probably going to go to a completely different use. This will probably become a nut dish or something in someone's home today, whereas over 100 years ago when it was originally made, it's much more likely that it would have held cosmetics or, who knows what kind of creepy stuff on somebody's dresser. And this piece, you see the footed bowl, was $3. That's a very good price. That is a thrift store price for an antique piece of Nippon. So you better believe I snapped that up as quickly as I could. Also, please note this cherry blossom pattern. Old Nippon, my favorite kinds of old Nippon, had patterns like this. Very, very common. These just very simple cherry blossoms, very beautiful, but it was a very sort of Japanese artistic sensibility brought over to the West. So it's another reason I like these pieces. Let's see. Blue Lusterware. All right. Second favorite piece. These gorgeous little Art Deco clown salt and peppers. Beautiful blue lusterware. Very Art Deco lines. Really nice. They wanted $18 for them, but that particular booth was having a 50% off sale, so I got it for $9. At $18, I probably would not have taken them, because even though these are really nice Art Deco pieces, they would go for twice that. If I threw these up for auction, yes, people would fight for these, because you don't often see them from this period. The condition is beautiful. The paint is really good, and very Art Deco lines. Ordinarily, when you find pieces of lusterware from the Art Deco period, they don't necessarily have Art Deco styling because they were made in Japan. Consequently, they had their own style. Art Deco was a very Western style, so nice. At $9, absolutely, they would come home with me any day of the week. So that was good. I don't know if those are going in my Etsy shop or if I'm going to throw them into the box of things that I will do, because I am going to start listing on eBay, not in my doll shop, so don't worry about that. I'm going to keep that very separate because, as you know, those dolls are just ghastly expensive, and that the prices alone terrify people. But I will probably just open another account for the thrift store finds, and this may end up going over to eBay, where a wider market will see them and find them. I don't know. Haven't made up my mind on that yet. But were they a good deal for $9? Absolutely. Okay. This is the little guy that you saw yesterday in the project video, and he has already been turned into a lamp finial or tidbit topper. He has his little reducer with a shoulder in, so he can screw on to anything now. I grabbed him because of his general sort of sympathy. I don't want to say resemblance because they're clearly different pieces, with this salt and pepper shaker that had already been turned into a finial or a tidbit topper. I saw this little guy and said, oh yeah, he could do the same. And they're both playing musical instruments. They have similar colors, this orange and terracotta, orange and blue. Yeah, so that little guy I grabbed, he was mini accordion at $2. For a one-of-a-kind lamp finial or for the topper on a tidbit tray, absolutely worth it. But he is a project piece, obviously. Even if I just leave it alone as it is and he becomes a finial, obviously I had to turn him into a finial. But $2 for a piece like this that easily becomes a lamp finial, a tidbit tray topper, oh, that was a no-brainer. All right, chintzy teapot. Okay. Now, as you know, the word chintzy means cheap and tawdry. Comes from chintz cloth being inexpensive. Pretty bright, flowery, but inexpensive. So, chintzy teapot. Yes, this was just a cute little teapot. It is unmarked. What did I pay for you, chintzy teapot? I paid $5. It was originally marked $10. I would have to say, I think I may have overpaid for this piece, but I bought this piece with an eye toward turning this into a project piece. Maybe, maybe not. I could sell this. If I list this, this will be another loss leader piece. This would be a piece that I could probably sell in the range of $10 to $12, at which point I'm probably just about breaking even, because remember, when I say $5, that's $5 with 6% sales tax. When I throw it on my Etsy shop, I've got 5% in fees, and then I have shipping costs, which could be as much as $5 if it goes to the West Coast. So if I threw that up there at $12, I would break even. Would that be a nice loss leader? Might be. So that was just an impulse buy that I think if I had thought about it more, I might have reconsidered it. It was just something that appealed to me, and I grabbed it. And that's something that I have to watch for. And of course, I would strongly suggest that you watch for it too. Every now and then, I see a little piece and say, oh, I like that. And I grab it. And I'm not thinking in terms of, what am I going to be able to sell this for? Is that a project piece? Well, what am I going to be able to do with it? What kind of project is it going to be? So a piece like that, I won't lose money on it, but I very much doubt I will make anything on it. I think that was just an impulse buy that if I had been a little smarter, I could have avoided. All right, a Satsuma vase, yes, here. This is a little Satsuma vase. I think we're about 5 inches tall. Classic Japanese design. This was $7.50. So it was a little over $8 with the tax. Condition is very good. There's gilding on our little dragon head, and there's a little bit of wear on the gilding. But other than that, no. This is a really nice piece. And we've got our Japanese warrior. And here's the head of our dragon. And the body of our dragon is snaking around the vase, coming around this end. Very, very Japanese design. There is nothing Western about this at all. This is a piece It's going to a collector who knows and loves Japanese porcelain. Hard to say what this will go for, because this, as I say, it's going to a collector who likes and wants this sort of piece. At $7.50, serious bargain. This could go very high if I put it to auction. In all likelihood, I'll just do a little more research on this, choose a reasonable price, and throw it in my Etsy shop so that somebody's going to be able to get a good deal on it, because I like to encourage people to get involved in collecting Japanese and Chinese porcelain. In my opinion, they're very beautiful. It's the sort of thing that we in the West don't have a lot of exposure to. If I can help push that a little, I will. So, I don't know. I don't think it's going to go to eBay. I think it's going to stay at Etsy, just to help encourage somebody to start looking at this type of porcelain ware. Okay, so some of his mini sugar and creamer. That's this one. Oh wait, how much did you pay for this? $3. Very small, unmarked, very good condition. It's gilding. It's not high-end gilding, but that's okay, because usually the lower-end gilding is indicative of more age to the piece. Nice little floral designs. I never have trouble selling pieces like this. And of course, what did I say? That was $3? Yes. For $3, I can't go wrong. I can easily sell this. Somebody's going to be very happy with this. These are, well, it's probably coffee for two. You know, this is not something that you would throw out on the dinner table if you were serving 8. But this is the sort of thing that you might put on the breakfast in bed tray, or take out to the patio if you and your significant other are having coffee on the deck. At $3, as I say, no trouble selling that. That will just walk out of the store on its own. All right, cottage salt and pepper. That was, I paid $6 for these. And these are hobos with their pants down, climbing outhouses. Honestly, I swear that's what it is. The reason I got these is there is a strong market for salt and pepper shakers with comical and unusual designs like this. We've got the outhouse here. Here's our little hobo, and you can tell from this black beard he has, and he's pulling down his pants, so his pants are only about up to here, pulling down his pants and grabbing at the outhouse door. Someone apparently thought this was high comedy back in the 1950s or whenever this was made. And salt and pepper shaker collectors like pieces like this. This is something that will easily sell. At $6, I could certainly expect to list that for somewhere in the range of $18 and sell it quickly, especially since I throw in shipping for something like this, and sell it quickly because someone is going to get a kick out of the hobo, and there's definitely hobo butt showing. So somebody is going to say, oh, there's a hobo butt, I must have it. Okay, this was the other, they're calling it salt and pepper and sugar. But in fact, I do not believe this is a sugar bowl. I believe it's a jam pot instead. So here is our little base, and we have a salt shaker, a pepper shaker, I'm not sure which is which, and show you in the back, here's our little spoon opening, And this, which is probably not a mustard pot as we've seen in some of these, it's probably more like a jam pot, because this actually does hold a rather respectable amount of food. This is a Japanese set, and what I like about it is we have a salt and pepper and jam set that is styled like a tea set. Our teapot, the creamer, the sugar, and the tea set is designed like houses. So it's got this little double trompe-l'oeil thing. Salt, pepper, and jam pot masquerading as tea set, masquerading as a little rural village. That's the sort of thing that sells very well for me. That one was $12. Absolutely worth it. Absolutely. That even though I keep the Etsy prices very, very low, I can throw that on Etsy, no problem selling it, because pieces like that really go. Finally, and this last one was $2.50, and it's a set of 3 pieces. We have a little tiny gilded teapot, little miniature teapot. It's got a little lid, and it has a book design. This particular book design is extremely common in Chinese porcelain. So that was the first thing that attracted me to it. I looked at the book and said, that's a common Chinese motif. The piece is not marked. Nevertheless, I'm pretty sure this is Chinese. It came with 2 other pieces which clearly do not go with it. These little tiny cups. This one has a Native American with a war bonnet on the cup. Very interesting piece. And this cup, which is, as you can see, is even smaller, has a tiny little parrot on it. Now, this piece is a project piece, because this is going to end up going to Jocelyn. She loves parrots, and this parrot is so cute, where we have little violets, I believe, on the front of the cup. And the little parrot, this could very well be a little tidbit topper. It might become a little lamp finial. Definitely, this piece is going to be something that will be modified. It will go to Joss, because, believe me, I know she's going to want it. The parrot is adorable. The parrot cup alone, frankly, would be worth $2.50. So that's what I took. Now, I'm going to show you the pieces that I left behind. And unfortunately, because they scurried us out of the store before we got halfway through, I don't have a lot of head-to-head comparisons for you. I have pieces I left behind, but I photographed them. Most of the pieces I left behind because they were simply too expensive. There were a couple of pieces I have some regrets about. So, in particular, pay attention to the salt, pepper, and little mustard pot set that had the Egyptian design. I mistakenly thought that piece was $18, walked away, did the math, and said, boy, at $18, oh, and it's no discount. By the time I was through with taxes, packing, shipping, eBay fees, da-da-da-da-da-da, I would have to sell that for $27, and it would be hard to find a buyer. Turns out it was $14.50. And at $14.50, I would have to go to $25 to break even on that piece, which is a little better. And if I had accurately remembered the price, I probably would have gone back for it. Snapped a picture instead. If it's still there the next time I'm in the area, I am going back for it. There were some other pieces of interest. I'm sure you'll very quickly be able to pick out the Southern pottery plate, the lovely plate with fruit on it. There was a set of 7 of them. The price was a little too high. Now, for most of these, I snapped the price tags as well as the item, and that was the determining factor for leaving most of them behind. They were just too expensive. In one case, there was a Lusterware tea service. I seem to recall they wanted $18 for it, and the teapot was broken and very badly glued together. That was just, I thought, that's a joke. But because it was a pretty piece, I did take a look. There was a Lusterware cream and sugar. Very nice. Had a little caddy, $48. Wow. I consider that the very high end of retail. And the final piece I'm going to show you is a beautiful settee. Now, you know, Jocelyn and I could have easily shoved that in the back of her car. And who knows, maybe one day. I don't happen to need an Eastlake settee, but boy, if I did, would that one come home with me. That, by the way, I did not snap a picture of the price tag. That was $145. So for $145, that really should have come home with me. That was just such a bargain. But I'm just going to show you the pieces that I saw. As I say, most of them stayed behind simply because I felt they were overpriced. The settee, because I'm just not sure where I put it. But I did want you to see that because it was a beautiful piece. So take a look at the whole, why this and not that. These are the not that's. So. Okay, now I know a lot of you, especially those of you in other parts of the country where things like Lusterware and Eastlake settees are not as common as dandelions, are probably thinking, how could you have left this stuff behind? Those prices were not so bad. Well, most of them were not really, really bad. But when we do all of our shopping at thrift stores, we tend to become real bargain shoppers, and we look for the deals. I'm happy with what I got by and large. As I say, this I think was an impulse buy. Probably shouldn't. This Salt and pepper, watermelon, I think I paid a little too much for that. As for the others, no, I'm pretty satisfied with that. So that's what we've got. Now, I've already heard from one of our Tidbit tray winners, Bonnie Suggs. The other Tidbit tray winner, Kelley Opperud, I need to hear from you. And once again, I'm going to pop your name in the bottom. And very quickly, next Saturday, I want to revisit the topic we got into this past Saturday. We spoke about YouTube's child-friendly, child-oriented video policies. A lot of you raised some really interesting points, and it made it very clear to me that there is a voice out there. I don't know if YouTube wants to hear it, but I want to hear it. So I thought next Saturday we'd just break off topic and just look at a question. Who is responsible for keeping children safe on the internet, television, social media? Whose responsibility is this? And I'm going to do a little bit of research on the issues. I'm going to give you a number of different points of view. Give it some thought, because I want to hear what you have to say. I heard what you had to say last Saturday, and I think a lot of you have a lot more to say. So hold that in the back of your head, and that's what we're going to do for next Saturday's video. We're just going to take a look at who is responsible for keeping the kids safe. It's just a philosophical discussion, but I think it's about time that we opened that topic up. Just big can of worms. Let's just dig in and see what we think about it. All right. Have a terrific week. I will see you all next Saturday.